This Saturday, June 24th, Battlefield Fight League will be returning to the Hard Rock Casino in Coquitlam, BC for BFL Fight Night 49. Our 7-year anniversary event will feature some of the best mixed martial artists in British Columbia. I'm proud to give the mic to our voice inside the cage, Ryan Ventura, who will be introducing our fighters.
Introducing first in our BFL49 co-main event. This man has a professional record of 7 wins, 7 losses. This Saturday, he'll be making his 5th BFL appearance. He is the former number 1 ranked BFL Pro Middleweight. He is the current number 4 ranked BFL Pro Welterweight, David Showtime Perron.
Nice.
And now introducing his opponent. This man has a professional record of 6 wins, 2 losses. This Saturday, he'll be making his 13th BFL appearance. He is the former BFL Welterweight Champion of the World. He's the current number 3 ranked BFL Pro Welterweight, Ash Smash Mashragi. And now introducing our main event for BFL 49. This man has a professional record of 5 wins, 1 loss. This Saturday, he'll be making his 9th BFL appearance. He is the former BFL Amateur Middleweight Champion. He is the former number 5 ranked amateur middleweight in Canada and the current number 2 ranked BFL Pro Middleweight, Jarrett the Rebel Ravel. And now introducing his opponent. This man has a perfect professional record of 5 wins, no losses. This Saturday, he'll be making his 11th BFL appearance. He is the former 2-time BFL Amateur Welterweight Champion. He is the former number 1 ranked Amateur Welterweight in Canada. And he's your reigning, undisputed BFL Welterweight Champion of the World, Chris Buckwas Anderson.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Grab a seat. So this press conference has a lot of questions that are coming from our fans. Our first question is for Chris Anderson. This is via Facebook. And our fan writes, I would love to know more about the rituals you perform as you enter the BFL cage and about your band and nation.
I'm a Namgis First Nation from Alert Bay, which is part of Kwakwakiwak tribe. And So that dance is like typically done in in a big house during ceremonies, and as far as I know, I'm the only one to use it in as a battle preparation type of thing. I wasn't born on the reserve or didn't live on the reserve, or I wasn't raised in that culture. But my grandma was, and it was something that I showed interest in later on in life, and some of my family members, one cousin carved me a mask, and a couple other cousins showed me some of those dance moves that you see. So yeah, that's where that comes from.
Our next question is for Ash Mashragi. This question comes via Facebook. Your persona in the BFL cage is quite different from how you are outside of the cage. Is it to hype and sell fights? Do you do this so you can fight without feeling at odds with yourself? Thank you, everyone, and have a great time Saturday night. I look forward to watching.
Persona. If anything, I've been lost in my past few fights. After I attacked somebody in a cage on TV, I got a lot of grief, and a lot of people made me seem like a monster. Outside of here, I'm not a dick. But then I started feeling like I was a dick, so I really changed myself, started going to therapy and trying to read these self-help fucking positive books. It didn't work for me, man. I lost myself. Fighting hasn't been fun. I've been trying to come. Everyone's like, be a role model. I'm no fucking role model. Sorry to say. Outside the gym, cool. I'll pet your dog, whatever you want, but fuck. I'm a fuck you kind of guy. I got to be back to myself. I'm sorry to say. Back to saying fuck you to everybody. Although I got nothing but respect for my guy. Man, if I'm like, oh, I like you, bro, I like you, when it comes close to that fucking line, who's going to take it? I'm already giving him way too much respect, right? So I'm just going back to my persona that is supposed to be, man, if I could act, I'd be in acting. I'm not a fucking actor. This is just who I am. And it's been up and down, 10 years. And for the first time in my life, I don't need to fight to survive. I've been a broke fighter for 10 years, living literally in gyms. I'm finally at a place where I don't need this. This is finally for me. I'm coming back saying fuck you to everybody, putting my chin down, going forward. I'm no fucking technical guy. I'm that fuck you guy. That's it.
Good answer. This next one is for Dave Perron. This one comes via email. You were a top 5 ranked fighter in Canada in 2015. Now you are coming off 4 tough losses. Would you consider this a do or die fight for you this Saturday night?
Does this thing even work? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Do or die. Yeah, losing sucks, man. I've fought all the best guys, and I've never turned down a fight. I'll fight anybody, and just so happened that it's been a couple tough decision losses. It's super frustrating, but at the end of the day, the last couple fights, I put a lot of pressure on myself to win. And at this point, this one's just for me. This one's just for fun. Like I really don't care. And absolutely, I'm going for the big fights. I win this one, I'm gonna try and get that belt. That'd be a great way to finish off my career. I keep saying you never know when your last fight's gonna be. I mean, I could have been done like 4 years ago after neck surgery, but after neck surgery, 2 knee surgeries, I definitely have less than this many fights left. So a lot of it's gonna play on this one. So yeah, hell yeah, every fight's do or die, but this one's more than ever, just because I started pretty old and I'm no spring chicken anymore, and then it's definitely getting to that point. So this one, I'm looking to make up for the worst performance I had in my last fight, make up for one of my best, have a few good ones up for you guys. So thanks.
Very good. Next question is for Ash. Once again, you've had a roller coaster pro career, starting off with 3 losses, then winning 6 straight and capturing the welterweight title. Now you have lost back-to-back fights. Would you consider this fight on Saturday night a must-win for you?
All the fights are a must-win, but if I show up and I don't fight and have fun, I'll be more upset about that than winning or losing. Man, I can't tell you how lost I've actually been fighting in there. Like, I've never gone to shows and felt kind of too nervous. In my last 2 fights, even though I went down a weight class, see, people even got to my head. I went down to 155. You crazy? It took me a year. I fucking sucked. I'm never doing that again. I'm not listening to nobody except myself, man. All the fights matter, but I don't fucking care as long as I show up. Thank you.
Next question is for the Rebel Jared Ravel. This question comes via Facebook. I think you have the best ground game for mixed martial arts in Canada. I would think that you need to get this fight to the ground to pull the upset. What do you think of Anderson's footwork and his MMA wrestling?
Thanks for the comment, definitely. Yeah, I believe obviously I'm one of the top grapplers around. I've been competing highest stage for a while now in the grappling world, but my true passion is MMA. I think it's the best form of competition for me. Chris is obviously a great opponent for me. It's going to challenge me. As far as his footwork and MMA wrestling, I think it's been proven, right? So I think this is why I'm excited for this fight, and I'm ready to go in there and show what I'm made of, right?
This next question is for the champion, Chris Anderson, via email. You have won numerous fights with deadly elbows from the top position. Is this something you're going to stay away from this fight because there is always the risk of a triangle or submission on the ground against a jiu-jitsu ace like Jared?
Yeah, for sure. That's something that that's an area I'm not gonna really want to be at, is on top. But my first MMA fight against Stu DeLerm, he was a real decorated jiu-jitsu guy, and at the time I hadn't even put on a gi yet, and now I've been at a jiu-jitsu club for a year, training 3-4 times, 5 times a week, with gi, with no gi, with wrestling. So my ground game's come a long way since then. I'm not going to really avoid it, but it's not where I want to be. But this is MMA. I'm prepared for all areas. So
This next question is for Dave Perron. This comes via Facebook. On paper, this looks like an even fight, but you have faced much tougher competition, including Caleb Starnes, Ryan James, and Chris Anderson. How do you think Ash compares overall to the top competition you've faced in the past?
Good question. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I fight a lot of tough dudes. I guess, it's ironic because my first fight I ever had, amateur fight, was against Ash on the island. I think it was 2009, 2010. And that was after training only twice a week for like 2 months, like super ghetto. But I mean, it was a great learning experience. So now it's like the evolution. And I just, I always say no risk, no reward. So I take those big fights. I think, he's a former champ, so you can't negate that fact. And, I put him around somewhere in the middle because I've fought some pretty big guys, really big guys at 185. I think at 170, I mean, he's probably top rank like locally, but overall, I'd probably put him somewhere in the middle. I guess that should answer that question.
This next question is for Ash. This is via text message to Jay. Half your wins are by submission, but most people are giving Perron the edge on the ground in this fight. Do you think people are underestimating your ground game going into this fight?
Of course, I say this all the time. Jiu-jitsu, I got jiu-jitsu naturally in the beginning when I started MMA altogether. But I love to throw punches. I love to take punches, throw punches. He's probably going to try to take me down. I'm trying not to do any of that. But hey, I feel comfortable on the ground. He wants to take me down, I'll go down and come right back up.
This next question is for Chris Anderson via Facebook. I personally think this fight is a mismatch because you have faced way better fighters than Jared in your pro career. Have you looked at Jared's past opponents, and do you think that this will be one of the better matchups for you?
I disagree with that a little bit. I definitely have faced a lot of tough guys, but I think Jared is the most dangerous. And I'm going up a weight class. I mean, that adds some new problems. But no, I disagree with that. I think Jared is my toughest matchup to date for sure. All my previous opponents I think had the tools to beat me, but I perform well under pressure, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a good matchup.
This next question is for Jared Ravel via email. Buckwus had difficulties in his only fight against a submission ace, Stu Delerme, and he was almost stopped. You were a bigger and more accomplished grappler than Delerme. Do you think Buckwus has any chance against you if this fight was to hit the mat?
At the end of the day, it's an MMA fight. It's not a grappling match, so anything can happen. People might say that his ground's not that good. I'm preparing for the best Chris Anderson there's been, somebody that's really good on the ground. Obviously, it's going to push my game to the highest level, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk at all. He's obviously proven he's 5-0 undefeated. I definitely am not underestimating him on the ground or anywhere.
This next question, it's more of a statement, so I'll let both Chris Anderson and Jared Ravel respond. This comes from via Facebook. I watched your two Harriet and Kayach fights, and I noticed constant circling to the left and always moving your back away from the cage. Both these guys took severe punishment trying to close the distance in mid-striking range. Those were both skilled strikers, and they stood no chance. I can't see how Jared will land one shot against you in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is a completely different stylistic matchup. So yeah, I was able to outstrike those guys, but this time I'm gonna be real cautious of a takedown. So it's gonna change things up a little bit. But yeah, the most dangerous part, he's gonna have to be at range and then box and then footwork, and then he's gonna have to close the distance and get by those elbows, and that's where people have been getting hurt real bad, because every time that elbow lands, I see scalps start opening up, and it's pretty nasty. I still don't even feel like I've landed a real clean shot. They've all been kind of glancing blows, or the opponent was moving well with it. So, and as far as Jared not being able to land a strike, I disagree with that. He's a good striker too. Just because he's a real good black belt, I think people are overlooking his striking. But I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's displayed some good striking in his last few fights. So I'm expecting him to want to exchange on the feet a little bit.
At the end of the day, I'm a totally different opponent than those guys you were talking about. Like he said, he's obviously with the takedown, he's not going to be as forthcoming as I think he's with those other guys, and that's just an advantage I would have, vice versa compared to those guys. I truly believe it's going to be a great fight. I think he said in his first question, he said he's obviously prepared in all aspects of the fight. It doesn't just have to be on the ground for me, right? I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. I've been working on my striking a lot with the Johnsey brothers, and I feel super comfortable wherever it goes. Obviously, the ground is going to be the go-to. That's the easiest path for a win, I think, for me. But I got to be comfortable in all aspects.
Next question is for Dave Perron via Facebook. If you win on Saturday between Anderson and Jared, who do you think you have a better shot at winning the title against?
That's a good question. Who do I win better shot? I don't know, man. That's a totally different matchup. I guess I'd really like my rematch with Chris, just because I like his style. He comes to finish. He finishes his fights. I think there's a better story there. He whipped my ass, tapped him out. He finishes all his fights, man. That's what I like. That's my style too. And I know it was a really bad fight. I like to strike, so I think that would be more exciting. It's totally different. I do like to grapple as well, and it'd be kind of a good matchup as well. But I think for the fans and for me, it'd be a little bit sweeter to get it from Chris. In terms of odds, I don't know. I can't really answer that. I'd just say it'd be a totally different fight. It'd be good either way, and I'd tip the scales in my favor if I could say so myself.
And our last question is for Jared Revell. This comes via email. If you win the middleweight title on Saturday, will you drop to welterweight after to get a call from the UFC?
No, I probably can't make 170.
Once again, BFL49 will be held at June 24th at the Hard Rock Casino in Coquitlam, BC. Tickets are available at bfltix.com, and the pay-per-view can be ordered at bflppv.com. We'll see you at the fights.